just an FYI, I think.
Yeah, it's with Connie Hunter's
Okay.
public comment.
All right, perfect. Well, are we ready?
Yeah.
Should we go ahead? Okay, good evening. Call to order the Common City Council meeting for the City of Brookings, Monday, January 13th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving right along, we're to swearing in of elected officials. There's 3 of us.
Yeah, you want to go first?
I can. You want us down in front? Where would you like us?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Point the camera.
So we'll do me, then Councilor Malmberg, and then Councilor Prada. Is that
Yes, perfect.
all right?
Oh.
All right.
Please raise your right hand.
All right.
Probably a little better this time than last time, right?
I, Isaac Hodges,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States,
to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Oregon,
and the Charter and Municipal Code of the City of Brookings,
and the Charter and Municipal Code of the City of Brookings,
to bear the same
to bear the same
in true faith and allegiance,
in true faith and allegiance,
and defend them
and defend them
against all enemies whatsoever,
against all enemies whatsoever,
and to faithfully and impartially
and to faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of Mayor of the City of Brookings
of Mayor of the City of Brookings
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I, Katie Malmberg,
Clayton Mulder,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States
to support the Constitution of the United States
and the Charter and the Municipal Code of the City
and the Charter and the Municipal Code of the City
of Brookings,
of Brookings,
to bear the same
to bear the same
in true faith and
in
allegiance,
true faith and allegiance,
and defend them
and defend them
against all enemies whatsoever,
against all enemies whatsoever,
and to faithfully and impartially
and to faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of City Councilor of the City of Brookings,
of City Councilor of the City of Brookings,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I, Phoebe Pareda,
I, Phoebe Pareda,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States,
to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Oregon,
and the Charter and Municipal Code of the City of Brookings,
and the Charter and Municipal Code of the City of Brookings,
to bear the same
to bear the same
in true faith and allegiance,
in true faith and allegiance,
and defend them
and defend them
against all enemies whatsoever,
against all enemies whatsoever,
and to faithfully and impartially
and to faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of City Councilor of the City of Brookings,
of City Councilor of the City of Brookings,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you, Brooklyn. Congratulations, Councilor Freda, Councilor Malmberg.
Congratulations. Gorgeous.
And next up is roll call, making Brooklyn run tonight.
Okay, Counselor Malmberg,
Here.
Counselor Prada,
Here?
Counselor Martin,
Here.
Counselor Fulton,
Here.
Mayor Hodges.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving on next to oral requests and communications from the audience. I will do them as I receive them. So the first one up was Miss Connie Hunter. Please come on up. It's about upcoming events. And as a reminder, just please state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
I'm the TMI guy, so 5-minute limit is good to know.
All right.
Anyway, I'm Connie Hunter, and tonight I'm here wearing several hats. But we'll start with the VA Roseburg Mental Health Advocacy Council. Was created by an act of Congress that all medical healthcare networks of VA can have mental health advocacy councils. About 9 years ago now, we discovered one didn't exist for our VA Roseburg. So we wrote the charter, and the good news is they chartered in one position in the officer's slate, the secretary's position, where a non-veteran could fill that position. And I was a founding secretary and still serve in that position. It's kind of a watchdog group. So if a veteran is having trouble accessing VA Roseburg services in any way, they aren't getting what they need from a VA provider or one of the providers that's in the Office of Community Care, and they come to us, then we get right to the director. To the degree that I can call the director on his cell phone. Now, I know recently there was a situation where a veteran was having a crisis and 911 was dialed instead of 988. And that veteran ended up having to go to county lockup. So that was hard to hear about, but it was also the right thing for law enforcement to do in many ways. But what we're trying to do is train our community members, and especially our veterans and their family members, the difference between 911 and 988. And I want to thank our new city manager for Veterans Day, identifying everybody who is at the city of Brookings who is veterans. The second hat that I'm here tonight wearing is House District 1. I am the Veterans and Tribal Liaison for State Representative Court Boyce. I also do constituent contacts. I made sure that I gave a list of the committees that both Representative Court Boyce and Senator David Brock Smith will be on this legislative session. And you are going to note that both of them are on the Veterans Committee of the Senate and the House of Representatives. That's a big piece of the puzzle, and one of the exciting things that I get to do is participate with the Veterans Legislative Caucus. And we're actually writing legislation right now, and I'm working with, if you flip to the backside, Dave Cracky, who is the brain injury advocate for the state and the brain injury advocate for veterans and service members for the state. Dave Cracky and I convened a previous Veterans Brain Injury Providers Workshop in Veterans Community Town Hall. This is going to be a 2.0. We convened that prior to Senate Bill 420 passing, which created the brain injury navigator workforce for the state of Oregon. We worked really hard on that, and I was invited to attend the ceremonial signing of that parchment, of that Senate Bill 420, because of the work that we did here in Curry County and throughout the state. Probably the biggest single thing that I can say that we've really gone after the VA about is brain injury screening. And last summer in July, the Department of Defense and the VA held, for the first time ever jointly, their suicide prevention conference. And Dave Cracky and his cohort, Dr. Doug Gomez from the Center on Brain Injury Research and Training, were allowed to make a presentation to that group. Now, there were only a handful of presenters who were not Department of Defense or VA, and so it was significant to have Dave Cracky and Dr. Doug Gomez make that presentation. It was a very simple title to that presentation, which I helped them develop. It was called Brain Injury Screening is Suicide Prevention. So coming up on the 25th of April, we're going to hold another town hall and Veterans Brain Injury Providers Workshop. And the importance of that is not only to let veterans know and their family members know where they can get services, and we bring a group of providers together, but we're also talking about the incarceration and post-incarceration, because a lot of work needs to be done at the state level and at the local level for understanding veterans' issues. Dr. Doug Gomez recently presented at the Oregon Judicial Department Veterans Treatment Court Summit, which I was allowed to go to, and made a big connection between the Veterans Integrated Service Network level chief of mental health. I'm over, huh?
You are, but if you could wrap it up. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not trying to cut you off too quick, but yeah, we
Well,
are.
you know what, this and this.
Yeah.
I can read a little body language now and then. But anyway, the piece of the puzzle that I want to mention is that Curry Prevention has obtained a grant in support of problem gambling prevention among veterans and their family members, and we want to tap into that work. But in addition to that, we're going to bring forth some ideas and some programs where veterans who need residential treatment and maybe they don't want to be a part of the VA system can get their treatment residentially. And of course, a piece of that puzzle is making sure that veterans get that brain injury support. And then the last thing is the Coos Curry Housing Authority. I am a commissioner. I think I'm the longest seated commissioner, and certainly from Curry County. But we have a relatively new executive director, Matt Bordestrass, and I'd like to request an opportunity in the near future to talk about housing and the projects that are currently in the works in Curry County, including Veterans Housing Project. And what I found out recently was that the state of Oregon had about $4 million set aside for veterans housing and it didn't get used, so it rolls over. So there's about $9 million that's available for veterans housing. So a veterans housing project would be great. But we also want to talk about student housing and the missing piece of the puzzle that goes with housing, and that's the pipeline to social services. Thank you for entertaining me, for putting up with me for this long, but there are some important pieces of the puzzle in the work that we do, especially when you consider veterans, service members, and their family members totaling those 3 subpopulations in Curry County, you're at about half the population of Curry County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and our city manager will probably be able to reach out to you on that presentation, so thank you.
And then maybe at that event on the 25th of May, would love to have our city manager and our mayor participate in the meet and greet and calling the meeting to order. So
All right.
I'll get you more information on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up, Laura Goldberg. All right. Again, same thing. Please just name and address in 5 minutes.
Sure, thank you. Laura Goldberg, 111 Schooner Bay Drive in Brookings. I'm here tonight, as to congratulate our new council members and Mayor Hodges. It's nice to be a part of your ceremonies, but I'd like to just say a couple words about our emergency preparedness and emergency response. On Thursday, December the 5th, about 10:40, the earthquake, 7.0 earthquake, struck off the coast of Eureka. And many of us received the alert on our phone, the earthquake alert, followed up by a few minutes later by the tsunami warning. So we were at home at the time, so we flipped on our home scanner, and it was so interesting to listen to the response as it unfolded. Immediately, the schools were evacuated, and within 30 minutes, all of our different agencies and personnel had seamlessly collaborated to identify and evacuate all the low-lying areas from Crescent City all the way up to Port Orford. And many of these people are volunteers, and there were people down in Harbor that couldn't self-evacuate. They were identified, and we were just listening to all this, really in awe of all these agencies working together so well. So I just want to commend everyone who is part of our emergency response system, the personnel and the different agencies that work together. It really was amazing, and I think we have a great group of people that work to make that happen. So I just want to commend everyone on that. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Agreed.
Appreciate that as well. And then this is the last one, correct? Okay. Amanda Whitmore? Yeah. Come on up, and again, name, address, and then 5 minutes.
Hi, I'm Amanda Whittemore, 1033 Chetco Avenue, and I work with a lot of different nonprofit organizations in town, and I just want to say a major thank you to everyone who's participating. And I feel that as much work and effort as we do, there's like a missing link to what needs to be done, what isn't getting done, and what's being volunteered for. There's like a disconnect that I can't quite put the puzzle pieces to, but I have a radio station and I bring in people from the community to talk about these things. It's not my radio station, it's KCIW, and I just have a show. And everyone's welcome to join and participate. And so there's also, through the Curry County, there's a volunteer page of how people can volunteer, how citizens are welcome to volunteer to be part of the task force, like the ambulance, the emergency, the real estate tax board, the commissioner of the planning commission. There's like 10 or 15 options for people to sign up to volunteer with. But then I'm not sure if people are actually volunteering or if I'm the only one, but there's also not really been any response of like, oh, we received your response, and then I see things on, I might be jumping around, but I see things on the Curry County webpage stating that we have a deficiency, or we don't have funding, or we don't have people. But if we're all signing up and volunteering and not hearing back from anybody, I think maybe if we could just kind of look into that a little bit to like see where is the communication, the game of telephone, like these things are happening but they're not happening, but people are signing up. But we have, with the Wild Rivers Film Festival, we have the same problem. We have a bunch of volunteers who want to volunteer all year, but then, we have this list, and then we have the board members who are so busy on getting things to happen, and they had to have all these things happen, but they forget there's this pool of volunteers to actually fulfill these, whether it's training for the volunteers, or what can I do to support our tasks in our city and in our county to be achieved as a solution-based option. And I volunteer the radio program to use for more community outreach for support to make that happen. But that's basically everything.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the consent calendar. Approved council minutes for December 9th, 2024, and then receive the monthly financial report for November of 2024. Any discussion? I didn't have anything. A motion?
I motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Call the question?
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Colston.
Yes.
Counselor Pareda.
Yes.
Counselor Mulder.
Yes.
Mayor Hodges.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to staff reports, public hearings, ordinances, resolutions, and final orders. First one up to bat is fats, oils, and grease ordinance. The draft ordinance and the ordinance language.
Mr. Mayor, I would respectfully request, staff is requesting that we table this at this time. We had some really good questions that came up today, and I feel like we can, if you give us a couple more weeks, we can find some of the issues that were brought up today and bring it back for further discussion and vote.
Okay, would we need a motion to table that for one more meeting? Is that what we're?
The motion carries.
Thank you. Number 2, Seacliff Terrace Storm Drain Improvements. Mr. Barron?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Hodges, members of the council. Seacliff Terrace Storm Drain Improvement Project includes installing 650 lineal feet of underground storage pipe or stormwater pipe along Seacliff Terrace, with the outfall to be located at the lower end of the road discharging into the mouth of the Chetco River. The project also includes the installation of stormwater collection basins at the intersection of Delnort Lane and Memory Lane. Currently, the stormwater travels from the surface of Delnort and Memory Lane and runs down the surface of Seacliff Terrace. During a heavy rain event, the stormwater jumps driveway approaches and causes light flooding on private properties on Seacliff Terrace. The lack of developed underground stormwater infrastructure in this area has also inhibited the ability to plan for street improvements, storm drain infrastructure, and paving on Musser Street, Hazel Street, Maple Street, and Birch. This project represents a small portion of the larger project identified in the city's 2016 Storm Drainage Master Plan. The project has been stalled due to a lack of utility easements from Seacliff Terrace Homeowners Association. In 2022, we received a request from them, the Homeowners Association, to consider installing the storm drainage pipe. Staff will develop utility easements to present to the Homeowners Association during the design portion of this project. Dyer estimates the engineering work at $88,300 and construction at $543,340. Project will be funded through the City of Brookings Street System Replacement Fund. Staff is recommending approval. Do you have any questions?
I have a couple of questions. I remember when we discussed this during the budget meeting, the street system replacement fund. This is something that we budget every year and we save up for projects like this, right?
Currently, stormwater has a lot of money. We haven't really been doing a lot of stormwater projects specifically, but there's money in that fund for high priority projects.
And then the big issue here is where the water collects. It's just going down their roadway, like a private roadway, that really hasn't caused damage to it, but it potentially could, right?
Correct, yeah. And in the past, when we developed this project, they were resistant to providing an easement for the stormwater pipe, but now they are. I think they're starting to recognize the issues that are going on. So this project has been on the radar from, I'm going to say, early 2000s. It's always been a problem down there, their lack of the ability to do any development or any storm drainage improvements. I don't know if any of you have driven on Musser Street, but we can't even pave that road right now because there's nowhere for the stormwater to go, and that road is really bad. I mean, it's a terrible road. Not a lot of residents on it, but it's still a lot of those roads down there. We just can't do any more with them because of the runoff, increasing that runoff. So.
Yeah, I spoke with I suppose he's the president of the homeowners association down there, and he seems to think that collection box down there just goes nowhere.
The collection box at the bottom?
Right at the top before the gate.
What it does is it goes underground from across the street, and it bubbles out of that and goes over the surface.
That's what he was saying.
So the intent is to get all that water underground out to the outfall, where there currently is an outfall down at the bottom.
Okay.
So we're just going to take that pipe down to that same outfall. So the cost, one of the things that's included in the cost of this is, and of course this is a number not to exceed, but they were anticipating that we may have to get an Army Corps of Engineer permit for this, but since we have an existing outfall, as long as we're not changing the elevation of it, we probably won't need to. So this number, this again is not to exceed, so the number should come down potentially if we don't have to do that, which we're anticipating that we don't. Wanted to include it just in case.
Any more questions?
I'll move to authorize the city manager to proceed with a Dyer Partnership Task Order 109 for $88,300 to develop plans for stormwater infrastructure upgrades on Seacliff Terrace.
Second.
Call the question?
Counselor Creighton.
Yes.
Counselor Mull.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Folsom. Yep. Mayor Hodges.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Item 3, Ransom Avenue storm water improvements. Dire recommendation to award.
Staff has identified a section of old corrugated metal stormwater line approximately 200 feet long, Ransom Avenue between Julie Drive and Checo Avenue. This is in need of replacement. This section of stormwater line is listed as needed replacement in the city's 2016 storm drainage master plan. Staff has also identified the need for a new section of stormwater line on Homestead Road, approximately 110 feet in length. The project also includes the completion of approximately 190 feet of curb gutter and sidewalk in the remaining portion between Julie Drive and Homestead Road. The stormwater project proposed requires completion prior to the ODOT sidewalk project between Lucky Lane and Parkview Drive, as there is a coordinated tie-in to the new stormwater system developed on the project at Ransom Avenue. The ODOT sidewalk project is set to begin construction in early 2025. Council approved the Dyer Partnership Task Order 105 in February of 2023 for the design and construction administration of this project. Dyer advertised the project for bid and received responses from 2 qualified local bidders. Dyer is recommending award to the lowest bidder, McLennan Excavation, in the amount of $116,894. Questions?
So this also replaces a portion of the sidewalk going up Ransom as well, and then that's all going to tie into that system that ODOT's putting in with that crosswalk right there at Ransom?
Right, there's from between Julie Drive and Homestead, there's a section of sidewalk that's there, but it stops. And so from that end point all the way down to Checo Avenue, we'll have an 88 crossing there at Homestead. But it's all sort of kind of coordinated with that. There's a manhole that's going in that we have to get the pipe there for. We recently, I would say within the last year and a half, we relocated. You guys awarded contract, I think 2 different contractors to relocate water main lines and other stuff that's in their way, ODOT's way, to do the sidewalk project, and we did that about 1.5 years ago.
And then, second part of that question, then, so that ODOT contract, is that still on schedule? And then
Yep.
when's?
It was awarded to Tidewater.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're set to start, I'm going to say, in the first few months of this year.
Cool. Just got to work on getting the sidewalk down the rest of Ransom.
Yeah, that'll be the future SRTS project,
Cool. Thank you.
if there's any money left for it. From ODOT.
Yeah. Any other discussion or questions? All right, do we have a motion?
I'll motion to authorize the city manager to execute the contract with McLennan Excavation, Inc. for the Ransom Avenue Stormwater Improvement Project in the amount of $116,894.
A second.
Call the question.
Counselor Mulder.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Fulton.
Yes.
Counselor Frazier.
Yes.
Mayor Hodges.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. And then moving on to number 4, the intergovernmental agreement for wastewater treatment services with the Harbor Sanitary District for backdating 2022 up through 2027.
Yes, Mayor and Council, tonight before you have the agreement for wastewater treatment services for the Harbor Sanitary Sewer District. This was approved by their HSD board at the meeting at December 10th. As you can see, we bring in approximately about $300,000 in revenue from HSD in regards to providing the services necessary for them to treat their wastewater affluent. The council approved a 5-year agreement back in 2017, and in the beginning of 2022, the council and the district started negotiating for the June, because the contract was ending, the 5-year contract was ending June 30th, 2022. And after 3 years of going back and forth, and I will give HSD this, we had a lot of changes within the council and within the administration here, so we went back and forth and we made some changes. I wouldn't say anything significant other than on the capital improvement shared cost. They had some concerns that were valid in regards to the percentage of hookups that they have currently now, and if the Lone Ranch, let's just say, for example, came on board, we would have significantly more customers than they would and be on the hook for the cost of any sort of capital improvements. But these changes were agreed upon by and recommended by the committee, which Councilor Pereda and Martin sat on. And I think we made a lot of headway, and this current contract will expire in June 30 of 2027. So we'll probably January of 2 years from now, we'll start working on the negotiations for the next 5 years.
Thank you for that. Any discussion?
I just have a comment. The city staff, city manager Tony Liu spent a lot of time working on this. Councilor Freire and myself spent time. The Harbor Sanitary District staff and their board spent a lot of time on this, and this is a fair agreement where the city worked hard to protect the interests of the people in the city of Brookings and the Harbor Sanitary District. Equally, we did a good job protecting the people in Harbor, and it's a fair and good agreement. A lot of headway was made in the last couple of months. Get this signed by the Harbor Sanitary District in December.
Yeah, I appreciate the district just working with us to get something accomplished and something that would meet and serve both communities' needs. So it's good to get that taken care of and be able to get to move forward for next year. And I guess I'll also say is we're there to represent, Councilor Martin and I are there to represent the council as a whole. If you have questions or concerns or comments over the contract, maybe let us know those things so we can be reviewing that before we address it again. That would be helpful from my perspective.
I just want to make one comment on it, and that is kudos again. I agree with everything Councilor Martin and Prada said about the hard work that went into this. 2022, we're in 2025 now. So a lot of things, a lot of finger pointing or whatever can go on in difficult debates and trying to make agreements. And in this, I don't know that there was any exception there. There was a lot of discussion to be had. So I commend everyone in finally coming to a conclusion that the Harbor Sanitary District could agree to, and I believe, I hope us here as well can agree to. So kudos to everyone for coming together and getting this thing across the line. Well, I will, see if I can get to the right page here. I will motion to authorize myself to execute the intergovernmental agreement for wastewater treatment services with the Harbor Sanitary District as approved by the Harbor Sanitary District Board at their meeting of December 10th, 2024.
I second.
Call the question.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Bolton.
Yes.
Counselor Freda.
Yes.
Counselor Mulder.
Yes.
Mayor Hodges.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to informational non-action items. Just discussion on December vouchers. If anyone has anything to say with that. Okay, and then moving on to the remarks from the mayor and councilors. Anyone have any additional remarks? Councilor Martin.
Congratulations, Mayor Hodges, Councilor Freya, Councilor Malmberg. Thank you for running for election and for continuing to serve the city. Councilor Fulton, thank you for serving. I appreciate the hard work that you four put into your positions, the questions that you ask, and the substantial amount of time that you dedicate to serving the people of Brookings. So thank you.
Thank you.
I thank the voters who elected us, and I thank the council for the privilege and pleasure of serving with you guys. In my short time involved in this position, I've seen that it's not always the case that councils enjoy and are pleased to work with one another and afford the respect to one another. And I just want to say that that isn't the case. I very much am pleased to serve alongside each one of you. I think that we all are here without our own agendas and here to represent the community, and for sure we will fall short. There's no doubt about that. We can't foresee everything, but we truly desire to serve our community well, to serve our staff well, and to work together for the best of us all. So I am looking forward to the next 4 years serving the city, and that comes much to my surprise because I never imagined myself being in this position, but I'm blessed and grateful to do so. As Ms. Hunter pointed out, legislative sessions are coming up, and City Day at the state is at the end of the month, and part of that is us going to have our voices heard. I don't believe at all that I am the best representative for our council or have the most information about the issues that we face, but I am willing to go and represent our community and meet with our representatives to bring the concerns of our community. If that would be desired by the council, I'm willing to do that. And if that's the case, I'd also just request, like, anything that you guys feel particularly needs addressed with our representatives, that information be passed along so that I could do that if that's what you guys would so wish to occur.
Thank you.
Yeah, just echo a little bit of what Councilor Paredes said, less eloquently, I'm sure, but I too feel genuinely honored to have the opportunity to serve alongside you guys and support the city and represent the people of the city of Brookings. So looking forward to the next 4 years, even if it means missing out on a bunch of Monday night football with my buddies. But anyway.
Not if we move the meeting to 5.
We could probably figure something out.
Instead of changing it to Tuesday.
I mean, we do have a TV. That's right. Yeah.
Or we can start the meeting at 4.
Priorities.
Yeah.
I don't mean to always be the last speaker, so I'll go. If somebody else has something after me, please say something. I ditto to all of that. It has been a ride. To say the least. And it was a tight race in mine. Tighter than I expected anyways. For not having someone to run against. But no, it is an honor. I mean, at the end of the day, I completely agree. There was no intention on my mind to ever come up and serve in this capacity. So it's a complete honor and very much a privilege. And I, just like everyone else, I do take it extremely seriously. So thank you. I also wanted to and Connie Hunter already left, but for what it's worth, maybe she'll see this later. But there are specific things in a community that are always hot button topics, and I think behavioral health is one of those. And also in my other job, my paying job, it's always a hot button topic in healthcare. And so, if she was here or anyone else listening can do this, acting in the capacity, as she sort of, Ms. Hunter sort of explained, as like an ombudsman or representative for the VA behavioral health, one of the things I think that would be appreciated is maybe a swim lane or if you will, a process map, something along those lines that sort of would explain the duties once a situation is de-escalated to the point you could find out if a person is a vet or not, and then you would be able to follow a map of who to contact and what to do. Because I will say, again, from my other capacity at work, the state itself, the state of Oregon, has made a number of changes to what they do with behavioral health, and I believe their contractual agreements with either the county behavioral health, which a lot of times is done by the county itself, or who they contract it out to, which our county contracts it out. But they do have a contract with them and the state. So the state pretty much states or puts the rules out as to how they function. And when those rules change, it can be hard to keep up with. And those rules have changed. So it not only is always a hot button topic, it gets more confusing every year, sometimes every month. Mm-hmm. And so my ask of someone in Connie's capacity would be to help simplify it for our police, for our hospital system, so that we actually have the contact information and know the next steps. That's my ask if she hears this later. And then thank you, Laura, for the compliment to our first responders and volunteers there. I just really appreciate someone taking the time to come and have some gratitude. I agree with you 100%. I think city, county, everyone in between, districts, all did a great job responding to thankfully what ended up not being a big issue on our end, but nonetheless, it's a great practice, and to see everyone work together like that. So thank you. I really appreciate that. And then Amanda, I hear you. I don't want to take words out of your mouth, hopefully that I'm not messing it up too much, but you try to help out and it seems like no one gets back to you when you're trying to help. And I don't have an answer to that, but I think from the city side, we will definitely, do our best to try to respond and give some feedback, close the loop on something if we ask for a volunteer. It should be at least our duty to get back to you, whether it was needed anymore or not. And at the county level, I can't speak to that, but maybe they'll hear this as well. So anyways, that's all I have. Anyone else? Going once, going twice? All right, if not, we'll adjourn at